Hey, welcome back to the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, your community cultivator and founder of Be Free Project. I help women who are ready to flourish, feel fulfilled, and be free to show up for themselves. I am deeply passionate about community, sisterhood, and personal growth. So if that's your jam, keep on listening. And now let's get into the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode. I am so delighted to be back in your ears for another week. All right, so today, what I want to share, what I'm loving is bookstores. Now, if you've been following me for some time, then you already know books are my first love. I'm always sharing books here on the podcast. I'm always recommending books to my friends. We even have a book club in the Be Free Inner Circle. I love books. And this past weekend, I went to Barnes & Noble for the first time in a long time because of the pandemic and everything. And it felt so good to be there. I mean, I felt like I was in heaven. I was able to pick up a lot of new releases, pick up some old books, and even some magazines, which I've always loved the magazines at the bookstore because they have all of them. And I went with my daughter, so we had carved out a little spot that we could sit on the floor, and we just enjoyed hours and hours of hanging out at Barnes & Noble. And when I tell you my heart was so full of joy, it reminded me of my dream, which I believe I shared it on here before. One day I want to own my own bookstore/coffee bar, and I can see it in my mind. I can see all of the pieces of it. And so being in the bookstore this weekend reminded me of the dream that I have. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the DMs on Instagram if you too love bookstores and books and all of that great stuff. All right, on to today's message, which is how to stay focused when you fall off track, especially during tough times. I want you to know that it's natural and it happens to all of us where we lose focus on whatever the goal is at times. And there's nothing wrong with you if you've fallen off track time after time after time again. Maybe you just didn't have the right skill set. Maybe you just didn't have the right tools. Maybe the timing. Shoot, maybe life, right? So I don't want you to be hard on yourself, but I really want you to just understand that everyone at some point in their lives, they lose focus. And that doesn't mean that something is wrong with you just because you've fallen off track, all right? But I'm going to help you out today. So first things first is that I want you to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made. Forgive yourself for starting over time and time again. Forgive yourself for not being as focused as you would like to be. That is okay. I don't want you being hard on yourself. I want you to give yourself grace because now you're in a new season of your life where you're working on growth and you're working on growing and you're working on being better. And so because of that, take this information and apply it as needed and don't feel like, oh man, here I go again. Nope. Be easy with yourself and give yourself some grace. So there's going to be a lot of meat in today's conversation, and I'm going to give you a lot of information. Always, whenever you're listening to my podcast, make sure you have a notebook handy so that you can jot down some things that I know you're going to want to circle back to later. So I want you to first think through what caused you to lose focus in the first place. What was happening in life where you were working on a specific goal or project or something like that, and you lost focus and you stopped doing it? So I want you first to figure that out. Was it due to the pandemic and getting adjusted to this new normal, which, truth be told, it has affected everyone in some way, shape, or form, where we can't do things the same way that we've done them before and we've had to pivot? So think through that because people have felt like even though it's a pandemic, I still have to do everything. And you've been challenged to slow down, and we all have. So give yourself grace for that. Maybe you lost focus because you got into a new relationship. And that's real, when you meet someone new, you start spending more time with them. Maybe you stop working on the goal because you're now developing this relationship, or maybe even a friendship, because that can happen as well. Maybe you just lost motivation because there's so much going on right now. Maybe, just maybe, you lost focus because something that you thought you wanted, you no longer want. and you can't figure out what it is that you want right now. And I want to make this clear that if you lost interest in something, that's totally okay. Just think through why you started whatever that project or goal was in the first place and see if the passion is still there. And if not, guess what? You get to change your mind, you know? Maybe you lost focus because you had too much on your plate and you were trying to juggle too many things. And I know we as women, and I see this in the Be Free Inner Circle all the time, where we try to be strong and we try to take care of everyone else but ourselves. And that's not okay, right? So when you're trying to do too many things, you lose focus on your own goals. Or possibly, maybe you lost focus because you now have some bad habits. And maybe those habits look like poor eating, maybe a lack of rest or a lack of sleep. Maybe you haven't been moving your body as much as you want, so you've gained weight during this pandemic. Maybe you're not taking care of your emotional or mental needs. So I'm sharing all that to say, think through, why did you lose focus in the first place? What was happening in your life? So then that way you can begin to reflect and see, how can I do things different the next time around? So now I'm going to share with you, how do you stay focused? But before we get into that, I want you to get crystal clear on your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you care about it, or why does it matter to you? So for me, why does Be Free Project matter? Because I want to be a role model for my children. I want them to see me chasing my dreams and pursuing the things that I'd love to do so that they too know that it's possible for them. I know that my why is to impact millions of women all over the world. And that is why I show up every single day. Right? I mean, I have more things in my why, but just to kind of highlight a couple of things. And so when you're clear about your why, that will be your motivation to show up for yourself when you feel like giving up and you feel like quitting. I also want you to think about, as it relates to your why, how do you want to feel once you accomplish that goal or you accomplish that dream? Lean into that feeling. Experience yourself feeling that feeling. So for example, with the bookstore, I know how I want to feel once I cut the ribbon and the doors open for the first time. I can visualize what the walls look like and the art that's on the wall. Like, I can see it and feel it. I know that I'm going to be happy and excited, full of joy that I created not only a space for myself, but for everyone. And I'm excited about that. And whenever you lose focus, always go back to why you started in the first place. What I recommend my clients and even the members in the Be Free Inner Circle to do is to write a why statement. And whatever it is that you're working on, write down, why is it important to you? Because you can always go back to that and let that build your momentum to keep going. All right, now let's get into the practical things that I want you to do as it relates to staying focused. I want you to choose the one thing that you want to work on that you will be most proud of that you touched by the end of the day. So for example, if you want to focus on working out, and that's going to make you proud by the end of the day that you at least took care of your body, focus on that one thing. If you want to focus on spending more time with your kiddos, let that be your one thing for the day. If you want to spend more time reading or journaling or meditating or working on that side business or thinking through relocating to a new state or a new environment or a new job, whatever it is, choose your one thing that you know by the end of the day, if you thought through like, man, was I accomplished today? Oh yeah, I was, because I touched this thing. Now, I want you to next focus on one thing at a time. And the reason that I'm saying this, and this is something that I tell my members in the Be Free Inner Circle all the time, is that we love to make a laundry list of many things that we're going to get done. And so we'll put 20 to 30 things on a list and then cross off 1, 2, sometimes nothing, and end up feeling defeated and overwhelmed. And the reason being is because you set yourself up for failure. Never put that many things on your to-do list at once because it's crazy. You're never going to get it done, right? So focus on one thing at a time and stop putting too much on your plate and you end up feeling like you're not good enough, you're a failure, and you lose focus. Next, I want you to work on your thing that you're trying to focus on when you're most energized and when you're most alive. So I know for me, I am most energized first thing in the morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I start my morning ritual. And for me, that is the perfect time for me to meditate, to journal, to read, to just sit quiet by myself because the house is quiet. That works for me, and it's also a great time for me to write. Now, when it comes to recording videos for Instagram or recording the podcast, I know it's best for me to focus on that in the afternoon, like early afternoon. So figure out when is it the best time for you to focus on your thing. Now, you can always do more things later, but just when you really want to touch that one thing that you're going to be proud of by the end of the day, focus on it when you are most alive and energized. Next, I want you to clear your area from any and all distractions. So if you're focusing on your one thing, your goal, what have you at home, and you have family around or you have a roommate, let them know, hey, I'm working on something and I need uninterrupted time during this time frame. And I'm sure they will respect the boundary that you're setting. Next, I want you to set a timer for 20-minute blocks. No switching to multiple things. The only thing that you can work on is the one thing that you set intention for the day. Okay? So give yourself 20 minutes of uninterrupted focus time to touch the thing that's most important to you for the day. We all have 24 hours in a day, and I know we as women, we give so much of ourselves to everybody else, but you have 20 minutes to give to yourself. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. Just to do a quick little recap before I go on. You're going to choose your one thing that you're going to work on, right? Then you're going to let the people in your home know, hey, I'm working on this one thing. You're going to set your timer for 20 minutes, and you're doing this when you're most energized and most alive, okay? And you are going to stay focused on the thing that you're working on for 20 minutes. And the reason I'm saying 20 minutes, because I feel like we all can carve that out in our day for ourselves. And then also, I want you to do this in small increments so that you can begin to build the motivation to get back on track. The most important thing here, and I need you to listen in, once you complete your 20-minute block of focus time, you're going to check in with your accountability partner. This is essential for your growth because if you are the only one that knows what you're working on, you're more likely to lose focus and fall off track again. You need people to hold you accountable. So you have to have a person or a community, a network to check in with to say, hey, this is what I'm working on for the day. I'm going to circle back with you at this time and let you know I got it done. And this is why I curated the Be Free Inner Circle, because I understand how powerful accountability is. I myself have a group of women that I check in with on the daily. This is what I'm working on, and they know to check in with me to ask me how it's going. And because I have that in my close friendships, is why I created the Be Free Inner Circle the way that it is, that you get accountability on the daily, where every day I'm posing the question in the community for the women. And I say, what will you take action on by 6:00 p.m.? And then the members have to type the response in and then come back and check in and let us know when it's done. The beauty of that is that they're getting more things done. They have community support. So we're all waiting like, okay, when is Deidre going to let us know what she got done for the day? And we're all checking in, right? The women are moving forward and they're growing in their lives because they have accountability with each other. And the reason that the Be Free Inner Circle is so powerful, because not only do you get community support from positive, keyword there, positive, like-minded women, you get accountability and support. and not only from myself, but from the women as well. And I am watching my members flourish in so many ways. I mean, I have a few ladies that are in graduate school. I have someone who just purchased her first home. I have other women who are relocating from one state to the next. I have women in there who are working on passion projects on the side. I have women who are evolving in their career or moving to new careers. I mean, there's a little bit of everything. And then we have some retirees in there, right, who are doing amazing things as well. So there's a good fit for everyone. But I tell you, the reason that they're able to grow in such a beautiful way is because they're holding each other accountable and they're building these real, genuine friendships. Listen, this journey is not meant to be done alone. You need people. You need women. You need positive, like-minded women in your circle that's going to support you along the way. And you would definitely get that and so much more in the Be Free Inner Circle. So make sure you go check it out at BeFreeInnerCircle.com. Next, in order for you to build consistency, I want you to do these 20-minute focus sessions for 2 consecutive weeks, because this is going to give you something that's doable. You can see, okay, the next 2 weeks, this is how I can fit this in my schedule, and you're doing it every day. Now, you don't have to do the same thing every day, but the one thing every day that you want to focus on and that you want to touch, that's what you're going to put your focus on. Now, of course, you can go longer than 20 minutes, especially if you have the time to do so. What I would love for you to do is that you do a 20-minute focus session, then you take a 5 to 7 minute break, and then you do another 20-minute session, and then do a 5 to 7 minute break, and so forth. Now, I want to give you a few tips so that way you can be successful in getting things done. All right? First things first, put your phone on Do Not Disturb and put it in another room. Now, if you're going to use your phone to set your alarm, that's totally fine. Set it for your 20 minutes and then put the phone in another room. That way you don't have your phone to distract you where you're on the internet, you're on social media, things like that. Again, let the people in your household know for 20 minutes, I need uninterrupted time, so then that way you can stay focused. Now, a good tip that I heard Rachel Hollis say is that whenever you're working on something and you're focusing, trying to work on something and get something done, turn your Wi-Fi off, right? That way you don't even feel tempted. Next, keep a notebook around you in case some thoughts or ideas come up. This way you don't have to jump on the internet to go do some research. Jot them down in your notebook and then you can look it up later. Now, this is very important. Put your 20-minute focus time on your calendar. Stop putting everyone else on your calendar and you're not there, right? Look at your calendar the night before or your planner and think through, okay, when am I going to block out this time? Whether it's 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, or what have you. Put it on your calendar so then that way you know what you're working on. And you can carve out this time in the beginning of the day, like in the morning. Maybe you get up 20 minutes earlier. Maybe you do it on your lunch break, maybe in the evening before bed. Whenever you have a full day that you can fit time in for yourself to focus on what's important to you. I want you to take it one day at a time, okay? You're not meant to do it all in one day. Focus on one day at a time. This is key. Done is better than perfect. So don't stress yourself out that you have to have everything together. All I want you to do is show up for yourself. And then increase your focus time slowly so that way you can build momentum and practice. So again, for the first 2 weeks, you're carving out those 20 minutes per day. If you have more freedom in your schedule, go for it. But I want you to focus on really just intentionally doing these short blocks of time to show yourself that you can do it. And then if 20 minutes is too long for you, go for 15 minutes, but just do something every single day for yourself. There's no rush. I want you to pace yourself and enjoy your growth journey. I started this new thing on Instagram and in my newsletter where every week I'm sharing a journal prompt and an affirmation. So I thought that I would bring that right over here to the podcast. So every week I'm going to give you a journal prompt and an affirmation that I want you to write down. And if you ever feel inspired, you can share your response with me by using the hashtag BeFreeProject. So here's your journal prompt this week. What do you need more of in your life? And your affirmation is, I live in bliss. Now, if you want to share your journal prompt response with me, you can use the hashtag BeFreeProject and I'll check it out. As always, I would love for you to share this episode with someone that you care about. Share it on IG stories and tag me at BeFreeProject or Siobhan Sudbury. Subscribe. So that way you never miss out on an episode. And I would love for you to leave a 5-star review letting me know what you think this week. And if you want to connect with me even deeper, every Sunday I send out a newsletter to my community and I would love for you to become a part of that. You can find everything you need right in the show notes so that way you have all the information right at your fingertips. Lastly, if you feel like buying me a cup of coffee, there's a link for that as well. All right, until next week, girl, be free.
Hey there, my name is Sari and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I joined the Be Free Inner Circle in February or March of 2020 because I was looking to increase the number of positive women in my circle. Those women that were honest, were goal-oriented, were like-minded, focused on self-improvement, and just doing some positive things for themselves as well as others in their community. And that's exactly what I found. What I love most about the Be Free Inner Circle is the genuine cheerleading that goes on and the relationships that develop from that. Most of us are not in the same state, but you wouldn't even know that just from being there and joining in the conversations. You would have no idea. The connection is real. The sisterhood is real. The conversations are real. The comfort and the coziness that you feel from the safe space that Siobhan has created is real. I encourage anyone who's considering joining just to come on in and see for yourself. You will not be disappointed.